we are taking approximate method, and there are various types of approximate method. I will be covering up in upcoming slides. Now, what are approximate method and how they are useful? So, approximate method is a method by which a multi-story building frame resists horizontal or lateral loads like as wind, earthquake, etc. So, this is a method in which building frames resist the horizontal forces. We get to know that how much amount of force a building should can be resist by the approximate method analysis. Now, depends on how the structure has been planned to resist these loads. So, depending on that, we will get to know that how the structure will behave during the forces of like as earthquake or wind. Now, there are two types of structures. Like as one is specially designed structures with frames of including bracing. Special types of bracings are applied, or say tube structures, or say frames which are provided with shear wall. Now, in such special kind of structures, all the forces will be resisted, or say maximum amount of forces will be resisted by these bracings, shear walls, and tube elements. Now, what if our building is not suffice with all these elements? Let us assume that we are having a simple frame structure without this shear walls, bracings, etc. So in such kind of frame, the forces will directly attract or say directly affect to the structural element, majorly beams and columns. So we have to design that particular element in such a way that it resists the forces very well. Now here the frame, which is no special device of lateral load are provided, like as it is just a column and beam frame. So horizontal forces are resisted by deformation of the frame itself. As I said, they produce moments, shears in the columns and beams. As I said, all the forces will be affected majorly to the beam and structural element, beam element and as well as column element. So unbraced frame can be economically for building up to 12 story high. So we can plan to have a unbraced frame, or say without special structural element, we can build up to 12 story kind of building. For more than that, we specially require shear walls, as well as for more like as 50 plus stories, or say more than nearly 80 story, we require bracings also. Now, frame with shear walls or special structure systems such as tubes and multiple tubes used for rod beddings, as I said, and should be analyzed by more exact method. Now, why here written that more exact method? Because right now we are studying approximate method. This will give us a tentative idea for shear force and bending moment, or say axial force of the particular structures. So, for high-rise building, we require proper calculation. This approximate method may not be suited. Now there are various methods, such as these methods are commonly analyzing for frames subjected to lateral forces these are the four most common method. First is Portal method, second one is cantilever method, third one is elastic analysis of whole frame by classical method, and fourth one is approximate method by factor method. So there are certain methods in which in our subject we will covering up this first two method, and you will get to know that how to solve the example. So with the help of example, you will get to know that what is there in the such method and how to solve the particular forces in the members. So as I said, we are taking the first two methods. So first one is Portal method. So what is Portal method? It is also known as proportional column shear force method. So proportionally we will be finding out forces with the help of, first we will be finding out shear force, and then we will be finding out different forces in the particular member. I will be showing in you upcoming slides. So as we are having approximate method, so particularly approximate method have their own limitations, or say assumptions. So which are they? Let's see. So for Portal method, what it says, the point of contraflexure of column is located at mid height. So it is an assumption that I know it is every time not possible that contraflexure occur at the mid height only. So here they have assumed that for the particular column height, at the mid span, or say at the mid height, the point of contraflexure occur, or say it changes its direction. from positive to negative, also negative to positive. Similarly, for the beam, they have assumed that it is located at mid height. So for the beam also, they have assumed that this point of contraflexion will pass from the mid height of the mid span of the beam. Now the above two assumptions make the structure as a determinant. So these two assumptions make our structure as a determinant. Now, horizontal forces are concentrated at parallel points, that is junction of beam and column. So next assumption is wherever the horizontal forces occur, like as earthquake or wind load. Right now we will be considering some of kind of wind load. So it will be acting at directly at the beam column junction at the panel point. They have assumed it. Shear force in each portal is assumed equally distributed between two column legs. So whatever the value of shear force, it will be equally distributed at the two column legs. I will be showing you this in the example clearly. Now the frame at each level of the contraflexion of the columns can be assumed to be made up of series of single wing portals subjected to horizontal forces, and the shear force induced in the column of the portal at the level of the contraflexion of the columns due to the horizontal forces is proportional to the span of the individual portals. So these 2 points will be clearly understood during the solving of example. Next is advantages and limitation of the portal method. So these are certain advantages that this method is very simple and easy to use. Obviously it is very easy. I will be showing you how to solve the example. This gives approximately satisfactory result up to 2 to 3 story, or say 2 to 3 number of bays. In a sense, up to 2 to 3 story building, or say 2 to 3 number of bays. So it gives satisfactory result for it. And it gives satisfactory result for symmetrical frames of moderate height. Moderate height in the sense up to 3 to 4 meter height, and if the frames are symmetrical, like each base having symmetrical width and each story having symmetrical height. So it gives satisfactory result for that, as it says in the second point also. Now, what are the limitations? This method do not take care of stiffness of the member. Hence, it is suitable for frame in which all the members have almost same stiffness. So, as the building with the composite structures, assume a building with the composite structures like a steel and say concrete or say composite. So, each member have their different stiffness. So, right now, the limitation first is that it is not counteracted in the part of stiffness. It has been already assumed that all the members are having same stiffness. Portal method scores over cantilever method when the height to width ratio of the frame is low to moderate. But it says that if height to width ratio is less, or say nearly to moderate, then this method is good as compared to the cantilever method. If the ratio is high, the structural behavior is closer to that of cantilever. Hence, cantilever method is better suitable over portal method. So there is a limitation that if the height to width ratio is less, so we should use this portal method, and if it is high, we should use cantilever method. Now, second method is cantilever method. It is much more similar to the portal method. Somewhat changes are there. So in cantilever method, we will be taking an axial stress. Now, what was there in portal method? It was column shear force. Now, here in cantilever method, it is an axial stress. So this is the difference. These 2 points are similar, like as point of contraflexion of columns is located at mid height, and point of contraflexion of beam will be at mid span. This is similar to the cantilever beam, this assumption. This point also saying that horizontal forces are concentrated at parallel points, that is at the junction of beam and column. Now this is a new point because it is focusing on column axial stress, that axial stress in the column at any level is proportional to the distance from the center of the cross section of all the columns at each level. So what it says that the axial force or say axial stress will be taking proportional to the center of the cross section. I will be showing you this in the example. It is kind of, we will be using that equation called, I hope you remember, which we were using in the MOS subject, like as m by I equals to f by y equals to e by r. So that equation will be helpful for solving the cantilever method. So due to which we can find out the axial stress. Now, this method of analysis is more appropriate for taller tower, like frame having smaller base but several stories. In the Porter method, it was for 2 to 3 story. Here it is saying that up to several story. This method is suitable for high narrow building. It is suitable for building up to 25 to 35 stories. So we can use this cantilever method for approximately calculation of the forces. So these are the two methods we will be focusing on. So first of all, we are starting with the Porter method. So we are starting with the Porter method. So these are the various steps which you need to be remember. Now, actual use you will be getting to know while solving the examples. So first step is column shear. As Porter method is based on proportional column shear, so we will be starting with column shear as known as Q. Now, column shear Q act at a mid height of the column as two equal and opposite forces. So at the column, we will be assuming that column shear will be acting to an equal and opposite. If value will be equal, but direction will be opposite. Now what it says that the shear force at the column ends means there are a number of columns. Let's say assume there are 4 columns, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the end column will having shear as Q, and intermediate column, which is column number 2 and 3, will be having 2Q. So this is an first step to be followed. Column moment. Then we will be finding out with the help of this column shear, we will be finding out column moment. So column moment is nothing but shear force into h by 2. H is nothing but the height of that particular column. So whatever the value of Q will be multiplied with the h by 2. Then with the help of column moment, we will be finding out this beam moment. All these steps are internally connected. First column shear, then with the help of it, we will be finding out column moment, and then with the help of it, we will be finding out beam moment by summation of moment at particular zone equals to 0. So beam moment are obtained by applying this condition at each joint frame. With the help of beam moment, we will be finding out beam shear. Look, first shear of column, then we will be finding out its moment. Then with the help of this moment, we will be finding out beam moment, and with the help of beam moment, we will be finding out beam shear. So beam shear act at the midspan of the beam is two equal and opposite forces. Similarly, like as column, in the beam also equal and opposite direction forces will be assumed. Now look, here beam shear into L by 2. This is my beam moment, and beam shear equals to beam moment divided by L by 2. So this is just a formula which we will be using. After shear and moment, we will be focusing on column axial force and beam axial force. So for column axial, we will be taking summation of V equals to 0 at each joint to find out column axial force. Now in this step, we will be considering this beam shear as vertical forces. So look, if this is a beam, this is a column and this is a beam. Now in this beam, there are two equal and opposite shear force. So that vertical forces will be considered as in this summation of V equals to 0. Similarly, for beam axial force, summation of H equals to 0 will be using, and each joint. So for this column shear, so if this is a column and its shears are horizontal, so that horizontal forces will be considered in this summation of H equals to 0. So these are the axial force, and at last we will be drawing the diagram of shear, axial and bending as well. So these are the various steps we will be keeping in mind, and you will be used in the example in the next session.